way, man. This in the lab live. Used to bake pies, now I'm on YouTube on In the Lab Live. Hit the like button, yeah, go ahead, subscribe. Ain't no telling what you see, it's gonna be a long ride. Better open up your eyes, cause we be in the bitch till 7 in the morning. Coffee in one hand and the sweet got me zoning. Blocking all the haters, shout out my moderators. They make the show greater, main reason why we made it. So up on the top, I can't see the ground. Got these niggas mad, they love when I was down. Now nigga up, and they can't tell me shit. Shout out to Scale Gang and all my people in this bitch. I got haters, I got friends, I got product, I got ends. If I ever get a play, I know they gon' hate me then. Still rolling in that lax slow, hotter than Tabasco. Don't matter what you buying, I can get you what you ask for. Hottest in the streets, really niggas can't compete. We be grinding while they sleep, yeah, 7 days a week. I ain't tripping on the docks, telling niggas come box. Right, knock them out of socks, boy, you must be smoking rocks. Hey, this in the Lab Live, man. Subscribe to the channel, man. Salute. Shout out to everybody in the building, man. Yeah, man, we got some updates going on as well as some information that just came out, guys. It seems like Kewon White is most definitely going after everybody that he even thinks is involved with basically telling on him, y'all. You know what I'm saying? It's crazy, man. It's crazy. As you see from my thumbnail, we got Armoni Rose up there, and we got Jose Bodega up there, guys. Now, it's been long speculated that Jose Bodega was actually snitching in this situation. And we heard that from none other than Kewon White when he told us that Bodega basically made a statement to the grand jury, guys, about his involvement in the Mo 3 unaliving. And when I say his involvement, I'm talking about Kewon, right? And we also, a long time ago, if you remember back, go back in some of my uploads, you'll find out about Armoni Rose, who is Kewon's cousin, according to Kewon, and a person who basically knows him, right? We all know her from when Duke Pharaoh put out the text messages that he was sent, to where she said that she would know Kewon anywhere, and that basically Kewon was the one that unalived Mo 3, and she made the plates for the Camaro. Yeah. It's done got real sticky around here, man. It's done got real sticky around here, man, because Kewon is looking to expose everybody who has something to say regarding his situation. Let's get right to it, man. Make sure you subscribing to the channel if you're new, and most definitely hit that like button, man. Like button is most definitely necessary. Yeah, I know this is an upload, but hit the like button if you don't mind, and subscribe to the channel if you're new. You know what I'm saying? So you can be here every time I drop information regarding this case, man. The 24th is creeping up on us very fast, guys. It's almost here, and we most definitely about to get everything that we ever wanted to know, I think, about the Mo 3 case. All right, y'all, let's get to it, man. All right, so here you see a motion that's been filed by Kewon White, guys. It says the state of Texas versus Kewon White. It says defendant Kewon White's motion to exclude testimony regarding third-party statements and conversations not involving the defendant. Basically, any conversation that happened, you know, between other folks where he wasn't around or he wasn't part of, he is most definitely trying to get that thrown out, right? And then this is where it gets interesting at, because it turns our speculation into fact, guys. All right, let's get to it. It says, to the honorable judge of said court comes now defendant Kewon White by and through undersigned counsel, and files this motion to exclude testimony regarding third-party statements and conversations not involving the defendant, guys. And then it gives the rules and the penal codes and all of that, you know, and let's keep on going, right? Let's keep going. You know, we're not going to read all that. I know y'all see it, but we're not going to read all that. Okay, it says the defendant respectfully requests that the court excludes or require a predicate showing before admitting testimony from state witnesses. Brandon Rainwater. Oh, Rainwater name comes into play. This is from Kewon, guys. Then we got a guy named Emanuel Easter. Now, I recently heard that he said he wasn't part of GRC or nothing like that. He didn't have nothing to do with the case. You know, that's the latest update. He don't know Kewon White. He don't know Jerry Johnson. You know, he was doing business with Cedric Bradley, and he doesn't know how his name got tied up in any of this. You know what I'm saying? Or why Kewon would even say his name when he got nothing to do with nothing. Mr. Emanuel Easter, aka GRC Shaq, guys. That was the name that was on the paperwork that we recently seen over there at Madam O's. You know, that might have sparked what Kewon got going on to even bring this dude up, right? But he says he's not involved and he not taking no stand. He ain't testifying against nobody because he don't know nothing. That's what Emanuel Easter recently said when interviewed right here on YouTube, right? All right. So then we get to the next name, and that's a name that we're very familiar with. And dude once made a post and said if he a rat, he's a gangster rat. Well, I'm guessing since his name shows up in his paperwork, and indeed, in fact, he gave a statement to the grand jury regarding the Mo 3 case. Hey, I guess it's safe to say he a gangster rat, you know. Mr. Theodore Thomas, aka Jose Bodega, and Sherry Satterwhite. Man, do y'all know who Sherry Satterwhite is? If I'm not mistaken, and from what I've been told, that's the infamous Armoni Rose name, guys. So Armoni Rose gave statements, you know, regarding this situation, regarding Kewon. Now, there's some things off in this paperwork, you know, when it comes to anonymous callers, anonymous tips, you know, that sounds a lot like something that we've heard before come from Armoni. You know, basically she said that she can identify her nephew. She called him nephew, even though they cousins, anywhere, you know, by the way he walk, you know, and she was most definitely positive that was Kewon. Right, but Kewon is looking to remove these conversations, you know, or these statements that were made by these particular individuals y'all see here. Out the case, he want them gone. It says, regarding statements and conversations between third parties that did not involve Kewon White, and the state cannot connect him through independent, non-hearsay evidence in support, defendant will respectfully show the court as follows. Says introduction. The state's witness list includes several individuals who anticipated testimony is limited to second-hand accounts of conversations and statements exchanged between other parties. Most notably, alleged co-defendants Marquise Conway, aka Yellow Beezy, and Jerry Johnson, guys. You know, this could be the infamous conversation that Bodega got up there and described to the grand jury about basically the money being discussed to pay Kewon. All right. So it says conversations to which Kewon White was not party, was not present for, and has not been shown to have knowledge of. So basically Kewon saying, man, I wasn't there, you know, I never knew it was no money, you know, I never knew about this meeting, I don't know nothing, I don't even know why they talking about me, you know, y'all need to take this out, right? So then it says this category of testimony should be excluded in whole or in part because it is irrelevant under Rule 401 and 402, absent independent proof connecting White to Pacific Exchange, and inadmissible hearsay under Rule 801 and 802 to extend offered for the truth of what was said, because the co-conspirator exception of Rule 801 cannot be satisfied on this record, and unfairly prejudicial and likely to confuse the jury under Rule 403 because it invites a finding of guilt by association rather than a verdict based off evidence of White's own conduct, guys. So Bree is most definitely on her job now. You know, if she haven't been on her job before, she is on her job now with trial scheduled for the 24th. They trying to get as much as they can up out of there, you know, when it comes to evidence against Kewon. All right, so then we go again. It says the problem illustrated, the Bodega grand jury testimony. So now we get right down on Bodega. And notice it says the Bodega grand jury testimony, which means he actually got up there and gave one. It's no longer speculation, it's written in stone. You know, Bodega most definitely gave testimony to the grand jury about the Mo3 situation and Kewon's involvement, guys. Yeah, ain't no looking past it now. The rat's out the bag. But anyway, let's continue. It says state witness Theodore Thomas, also known as Jose Bodega, testified before a grand jury regarding the conversation he claims to have overheard between Jerry Johnson and Marquise Conway. It says Kewon White was not a participant in that conversation. No evidence of the state file and none produced in discovery to date suggests that White was present for or was told about or was even aware that the conversation even took place, guys. It says Bodega could not identify even approximately when the conversation he claims to have overheard occurred. Without a fixed or approximate time frame, the conversation cannot be tied to the November 11, 2020 offense date, to any charged conspiracy period, or to any other fact of consequence in this case. Yeah, so they say, hey man, Kewon wasn't there. Bodega got a lot of stuff that he don't even know, you know, how it happened, you know, what day it was, what was the time, approximately where was y'all at. They saying Bodega say he don't know, he don't remember, but he remember what was said, but he don't remember the date, the time, or the place. But anyway, let's continue. It says, on information in belief, the anticipated testimony of Brandon Rainwater. Rainwater name comes up again, man. You know, they are worried about what Rainwater has to say, right? They are most definitely focused on Rainwater. And I heard that today it was a great debate, you know, about some of the statements that Rainwater has been making, you know, causing a bunch of confusion in court. Yeah, man, they said they had a whole situation when it came to when Rainwater name came up. All right, so we got Brandon Rainwater, Emanuel Easter, and Sherry Satterwhite suffers from the same defect. Each is expected to testify about statements and conversations among other individuals, including but not limited to Conway and Johnson, that did not involve Kewon White, and that the state cannot connect him through any independent, non-hearsay evidence. Right? It says this motion addresses the entire category of anticipated testimony from all four witnesses, using the Bodega example as an illustrative of deficiency common to each, guys. So basically what they doing right here, because I think it goes into a lot of legal mumbo jumbo that we don't even care about, but basically what they doing here is saying, hey man, Kewon wasn't there for any other conversations. You know, these are basically third-party admissions. You know, we don't even know if they true, and they don't even involve Kewon. It's somebody talking to somebody else, you know, and then they're trying to bring this in and say that Kewon was a part of it, but can't prove that Kewon was a part of it, right? All right, it's a conversation between two other people that does not mention, involve, or any way concern Kewon White has no tendency to make any fact concerning White's guilt more or less probable, unless the state first establishes through evidence independent of the conversation itself that White participated in it, directed it, was present for, or otherwise had knowledge of it. So basically they say, hey man, Kewon ain't even know nothing about it. You know what I'm saying? It says the state cannot make their threshold showing with respect to the Johnson-Conway conversation Bodega claims to have overheard, and on information and belief cannot make it with respect to the conversations Rainwater, Easter, and Satterwhite are expected to describe. Absent that predicate, The testimony is offered solely to suggest that White was part of a broader undertaking involving Conway and others. An inference the jury is not permitted to draw from a conversation he had no part in when the defendant was not present and is not shown to have known of it is not probative of the defendant's own conduct, knowledge, or intent, and should be excluded as irrelevant until the state supplies the missing connection, guys. So yeah, Bree getting it in there. She said, hey man, if he wasn't there, y'all shouldn't even be saying that he was a part of nothing, because he had no knowledge, and once again, he wasn't there. All right, it says B, to extent offered for the truth of the matter asserted, the testimony is admissible hearsay, and the co-conspirator exception does not apply absent proof that White was a member of the conspiracy at the time of the specific statement. All right, it says 12. Hearsay is a statement other than one made by the defendant while testifying at the current trial that a party offers to prove the truth of the matter asserted. Hearsay is not admissible unless a statute, the rules of evidence, or other rules prescribed under statutory authority provide otherwise. The state may attempt to offer these third-party conversations under the co-conspirator exception from the hearsay rule, which excludes from the definition of hearsay and a statement made by a party's co-conspirator during the furtherance of a conspiracy. Guys, conspiracy. I'm just saying. All right, it says to invoke the exception, the proponent must establish by preponderance of the evidence intended and independent of the statement itself that a conspiracy existed, that the declarant and Kewon White were both members of the conspiracy, and that the statement was made during the course of and furtherance of conspiracy. And then it goes on to list a bunch of cases and statutes. All right, it says a conversation between Jerry Johnson and Marquise Conway that does not mention White and that White is not shown to have known about cannot satisfy the second element of the test. There is no independent evidence that White was a member of any conspiracy reflected in that Pacific exchange. Sufficient independent evidence of the conspiracy is required before co-conspirators' out-of-court statement may be admitted against another alleged conspirator. And then it shows a lot of more cases and statutes. Testimony from 4 separate witnesses, each recount a different conversation among other people that never involved Kewon White, had minimal probative force as to White's own conduct or intent, while carrying a substantial potential to leave the jury with the impression, without proof, that White was admonished in a broader criminal enterprise involving Conway, Johnson, and others. This is precisely the guilt by association inference Rule 403 exists to prevent, guys. A witness may testify to a matter only if evidence is introduced sufficient to support a finding that witness has personal knowledge of. Bodega's inability to even approximate a date for the conversation he claims to have overheard leaves the testimony untethered to any relevant period in the case and prevents the defense and the court from evaluating whether the conversation bears on the November 11, 2020 offense or any other fact of consequence. The same fundamental concerns apply to any similar undated or unanchored testimony from Rainwater, Easter, Satterwhite, and the state should be required to establish a temporal and factual foundation for any such testimony before it is presented to the jury, guys. Yeah, all right, so let's keep going. Requested procedure. It says, defendant requests that before any 4 witnesses identified in the motion is permitted to testify before the jury regarding any statement or conversation between third parties that did not involve Kewon White, the court should require the state to A, identify the specific statement or conversation it intends to elicit, B, make an offer of proof outside the presence of the jury, establishing the evidentiary predicate connecting the statement to White or satisfying the requirements of Rule 801, and C, obtain ruling from the court on admissibility before the jury hears the testimony. All right, then it comes with a prayer, which means we reach the end of this here document, guys. But this most definitely 100% absolute shows that Armoni Rose and Jose Bodega, guys, are most definitely part of this case. Now, who knows? You know, they might change their story. Hey, Armoni might not even show up. But at one point, they were both willing to testify against Kewon White. All right, there's more. You know what I'm saying? There is most definitely more. Let's get to the next part of all this. Yeah, all right. So once again, guys, there's more, because I come to find out that Kewon is basically trying to get Randall Graham's situation to be not part of the Mo 3 situation, right? So we got another motion here. You know, you see Kewon's White name and all of that good stuff. It says defendant Kewon White motion in limine regarding the separately charged shooting of Randall Graham. Guys, Randall Graham was the guy that was giving Mo 3 CPR while he was down on the ground in those infamous videos that y'all see that we saw going around. A Mo 3 laid out on the highway, and the dude in the scrubs, who was a neurosurgeon, Mr. Randall Graham, was also hit in the neck, you know, from a bullet, allegedly that came from Kewon. So it was 2 incidents on one day. What they basically saying here is Randall Graham's situation should be tried at a different time than the Mo 3 situation, and that they shouldn't even bring up Randall's shooting because it brings prejudice to the jury, basically by them saying that he hit 2 people in one day. I don't think this is gonna work. I think they're gonna most definitely keep Graham's situation in here, but it was a nice try. It says, to the honorable judge of said court, comes now defendant Kewon White by through undersigned counsel and files this motion of limine regarding separately charged shooting of Randall Graham pursuant to rules. And then they got all these rules right here. I'm not going to read all those rules. Y'all can see them. That's why I made it big, so everybody can see it, because I'm not going to read all of them, right? It says defendant respectfully requests that the court instruct the state, its attorneys, agents, and witnesses not to mention, refer to, allude to, or offer any evidence, testimony, or argument before the jury regarding the shooting of Randall Graham on or about November 11, 2020, separately charged as aggravated assault with a deadly weapon, and the cause and the case number, whatever, they got it right there for you, without first approaching the bench and obtaining a ruling from the court outside the presence and hearing of the jury, and support the defendant will respectfully show the court as follows. So then they go through and they talk about basically the defense, you know, the prosecution saying that Kewon was on a shooting spree because Graham's shooting is a distinct offense, charged in a distinct indictment, prosecuted under a distinct cause number, and is not an element that the state must prove to convict Mr. White of capital unaliving of Melvin Noble. Evidence of the shooting is extraneous offense evidence within the meaning of Texas Rule Evidence 404. It carries an acute risk of unfair prejudice. A jury that hears Mr. White shot 2 people on the same day is far more likely to convict him of capital murder based on the impression that he is a dangerous, violent person, generally, rather than on a specific proof that the state must actually produce beyond reasonable doubt that he unalived Melvin Noble for remuneration, guys. Now, I'm not finna go all the way down through there. I gave y'all a little bit of it. Feel free to go all the way down through there if you would like. You know, I most definitely keep it up there for y'all. But basically what this is saying is that the shooting of Mo 3 by Kewon has 1 case number, and the shooting of Randall Graham has another case number, which makes them 2 different cases. And basically what Kewon's attorneys are saying is that since there are 2 different offenses, they should be tried separately, and that they should not be brought up, what a Graham situation, should not be brought up to the jury because it makes it far more likely that they would convict him, you know, based on the state saying things like he went on a shooting spree. And then they find out that he actually shot 2 people, you know, instead of just 1. I don't think this is gonna work, guys. I think that Graham is tied into this Mo 3 situation, and both incidents happened on the same highway on the same day and allegedly by the same person. So therefore, they tie in together and they will not be separated, in my opinion. Let's get to the next point of this whole entire situation. All right, so now we have another motion that Kewon has filed, guys. It says defendant motion to require disclosure and identity of confidential informants and anonymous tipsters, guys. This is where we get a little bit more of the evidence that the state has that we may not have been privy to before, but it's coming out now, guys. Make sure you pay close attention to what's being said. All right, it says defendant's motion to require disclosure of identity of confidential informants, anonymous tipsters, to the honorable judge of said court comes now. Defendant Kewon White, by and through undersigned counsel, and files this motion to require disclosure of identity of confidential informants and anonymous tipsters, and in support thereof will respectfully show the court as follows. So then they got the introduction. It says this case arises from the November 11, 2020 shooting on I-35 near Morales Avenue in Dallas, Texas. Investigated by the Dallas Police Department under service, whatever that is, you know, and Detective Anderson. We see his name. All right. So then it says defendant was not identified as a suspect through any eyewitness at the scene. Rather, defendant's identification as a suspect originated from an anonymous female caller who telephoned the lead detective on November 25th of 2020 and who called back on at least 3 subsequent occasions with additional information about the defendant's whereabouts. So it was a female caller that kept on calling into them, guys, saying, hey, I know this Kewon. Man, this is where Kewon is at. Man, why y'all ain't went and picked him up? Here go Kewon Instagram address. Was for sure that it was Kewon. But let's keep going. You know what I'm saying? This might be Armoni Rose. It says the investigative file further reflects at least 2 additional anonymous or confidential sources whose information bears on the identity of the true offender. A 911 tip identifying a different individual named Curtis Holmes as a possible suspect. And second, a January 11, 2021 anonymous call reporting that 2 named individuals were overheard discussing the offense and disposing of the alleged murder weapon, right? So they was talking about the offense and they got rid of the murder weapon. This is crazy, man. If you made it to this part of the video, hit that like button, subscribe to the channel if you're new. This is the latest in breaking when it comes to details on the Mo 3 case, guys. And these are Kewon White motions, who is scheduled to go to trial August 24th, guys. All right. It says the defendant moves this court to order the state to disclose the true name, address, and other identifying information of each confidential informant and or anonymous tipster referenced in the investigative file, or alternatively to conduct an in-camera hearing pursuant to Rule 508 to determine whether disclosure is required, right? So then it says factual background. Let's keep going. It says on November 25th, 2020, an anonymous female caller, the tipster, contacted Detective Anderson and identified the defendant, Kewon White, as the shooter. So on the 25th, a female caller identified Kewon White as the unalive of Mo 3. Wow. All right. It says, according to the investigative file, The tipster stated that she instantly knew it was him upon seeing a photograph based on his posture and pants, and that her boyfriend independently recognized the defendant as well. I think this is a money, allegedly. I think that this is a money, basically leading the police in the right direction. I'm just saying, she said from the posture and the pants, she could tell that it was Kewon. Remember, she said, I could tell by his walk if that was him. I know my nephew when I see him. He the one that did. So maybe she had been on board with and trying to get Kewon locked up, since November 25th of 2020. All right. So anyway, it says instantly knew it was him upon seeing photographs based on his posture and pants, and that her boyfriend independently recognized the defendant as well. She stated that the defendant is affiliated with a group referred to in the file as Bessie, and that he had recently been released from jail in Mount Pleasant, Texas, and that she heard Kewon say he shot Mo 3. Wow. Say he was released from a jail in Mount Pleasant, Texas, and that she heard Kewon say he shot Mo 3. She further reported that the defendant had inside knowledge regarding a co-suspect's surveillance of the complainant, provided what she identified as the defendant's Instagram account, and stated that the defendant was staying at a trap house on Ramona. That's where they got those cell phones, the DVR, and that laptop from, guys. She told him where he was at. He was on Ramona at the trap house. All right, let's keep going. Based on the video she attributed to a third party, she also described the defendant walking around South Dallas with a guitar case containing a firearm. Kewon, boy, you is a wild boy. You had a guitar case with your firearm outfitted, allegedly the murder weapon. But anyway, it says the same tipster called Detective Anderson again on at least 3 later occasions. On or about December 1st, 2020, she reported that the defendant was responsible for a separate incident identified in the file as indictment, whatever that is, and that he was driving a white Nissan. So Kewon, you committed another offense. Kewon was still out here doing things he ain't had no business, even after he unalived Mo 3, right? It says, on or about December 3rd, 2020, she reported that the defendant was moving from the Ramona address to a new residence that referenced the defendant's Instagram activity. So she was pointing out the pictures and saying, look at this, look at this. If you're looking at his Instagram, you'll see this, that, and the third. And oh yeah, he moving out that trap house into another. It says, shortly therefore after, she reported the specific new address, 342 Friendwood, a house with a white fence, and stated that the defendant had last been seen at a barbershop on Sunnyvale Road in possession of, yet again, a firearm. Kewon kept some guns, man. And whoever this woman is, she knew Kewon to the T. How else was she able to know everywhere he was going? You know what I'm saying? Looking at his Instagram account, trying to see what was going on. And remember, I think it's Armoni, because every time someone references his Instagram, what does Kewon always say? I wasn't in control of it. It was Ducky P. Yeah, when Boosie got hit up, it wasn't me. It was my homeboy. I think that he's on a clear path to throw these people under the bus for them throwing him under the bus. You know what I'm saying? Even if it's at the expense of Ducky P. But anyway, it says the tipster information was not merely background noise in this investigation. It was acted upon. On December 8, 2020, U.S. Marshals executed process 3915 Verona Avenue, searching for the defendant on federal weapons charges on February 3rd, 2021. Investigators obtained and executed a search warrant for electronic devices recovered from the same 3915 Ramona Avenue address. And then they got the evidence tag, including 4 phones, a DVR, and a laptop computer. Defendant was thereafter arrested in Mount Pleasant, Texas, and a warrant was later walked charging the defendant with the offense of murder and aggravated assault with a deadly weapon. The investigative file reflects that the tipster's identities have never been disclosed to the defense. She does not appear anywhere in the file except as an anonymous tipster. She or the tipster, no track record basis of knowledge beyond her own say-so or independent corroboration of her reliability appears anywhere in the file, predating law enforcement's reliance on her information. The investigative file also reflects other anonymous or confidential sources bearing on the identity that have not been disclosed. A 911 tip identifying Curtis Holmes as a possible suspect, which investigators noted did not match based on a weight discrepancy with an updated driver's license photo. Okay, then it says 2, numerous tips from the citizens and anonymous tips that pointed at a different suspect, identified in the file by the Instagram handle J Rock Sosa, guys, aka Robert Gomez. His name has most definitely been mentioned to the police. They looked into him, but did not feel like it was him. It says J Rock Sosa, due to a similar build and a possible connection to a rival music artist, Trap Boy Freddy, aka CME, feuding with the complainant. And 3, a January 11, 2021 anonymous call reporting that Brianna Ruffin and Lameisha Ruffin were overheard discussing the murder and getting rid of the alleged murder weapon, with one of the 2 reportedly leaving the state until the heat dies down. What? So it's some women involved in this, man. Brianna Ruffin and Lameisha Ruffin, referred to as the twins. I don't know if they twins or not. That's what I heard them called. But basically, these young ladies allegedly got rid of the other weapon, the weapon that took out Mo 3. That's crazy, y'all. And then one of them left the state until the heat dies down. Hey, man, this is something else. I ain't never just been in the paperwork. I ain't never just seen nothing like it. But, man, I am shocked with some of this stuff that they putting out. They done exposed that 2 young ladies may have been part of this, guys, and basically, hiding the unalive weapon or destroying the evidence. Now, I heard that may have been caught on one of the on the surveillance. When it comes to Kewon, they may have the ladies on camera, basically destroying evidence. I don't know how true it is, though. We'll see. The tipster did not witness the shooting. Her account is instead an out-of-court identification of the defendant from a photograph. She instantly knew it was him, layered with hearsay. She heard Kewon shot Mo 3 and claims regarding gang affiliation and motive. Identity is the central contested issue in this case. The investigative file reflects that the law enforcement separately pursued and interviewed multiple other persons of interest, including Chris Holmes, Devin Brown, Cortez Rags, Trevon Foggy, whoever that is, and the individual identified only as J Rock Sosa, aka Robert Gomez. So they did interview some other people, but they ruled all them out. Kept Kewon. All right. It says in connection with the same offense, the only recipient eyewitness at the scene, Tracy Kepler, provided a general description: black male in his 30s, wearing a black pants and a long sleeve cream top. That does not, on its own, exclude other suspects. Where an informant's account supplies the identification and set the entire investigation in motion. against a particular defendant. The testimony is necessary to a fair determination of guilt or innocence under Rule 508. Without disclosure, the defense cannot test the tipster's basic of knowledge, her actual ability to recognize the defendant from a photograph, any motive to fabricate or redirect suspicion, including any connection to rival music artists referenced elsewhere in the file, any reward or benefit she may have received, or whether her identification was itself the product of social media, rumor, or suggestions. So basically saying she could have been influenced, by the people she hang with, maybe the people she are associated with, family members. She could be a Trap Boy Freddy fan and be in a picture with Trap Boy Freddy, and they say, hey, this is what made her say what she said because she's trying to protect this fella. I'm just saying though, it's crazy because they trying to get their names and backgrounds, guys. All the informants, all of them, everybody, anybody that testified, they basically going after. Yeah, and they most definitely are trying to make these people's testimonies not be relevant so they can get them thrown out. Yeah, man, they got a lot going on here, man. Whatever, woo-de-woo, relief request. So this is what they want them to do. All right, it says, hey, order the state to disclose the true name, last known address, or other identifying information of the anonymous tipster who first identified the defendant as a suspect on November 25th, 2020, and who called on at least 3 subsequent occasions, as well as any other confidential informant or anonymous tipster whose information was used in the investigation, arrest, search, or prosecution of the defendant's case. Then it says B, order the state to disclose all information in its possession regarding the 911 tip identifying Curtis Holmes, the tips pointing to J-Rock Sosa, and the anonymous tip regarding Brianna Ruffin and Lameisha Ruffin, including whether the alleged murder weapon referenced in the tip was ever recovered, tested, or compared to the ballistics evidence in this case. Lameisha Ruffin and Brianna Ruffin look like y'all got some explaining to do. It says, alternatively, conduct an in-camera hearing pursuant to the Texas RV, whatever 508, and CB to determine whether the tipster can provide testimony necessary to a fair determination of guilt or innocence, or whether she was reasonably believed to be reliable or credible. And then it says D, order that if the court finds the exception under Rule 508 satisfied, the state elects not to disclose the tip's identity, the charges to which the testimony relates be dismissed. Grant a continuance of any trial or hearing setting as necessary to permit defendant investigate and prepare in light of any disclosed order, and grant defendant such other and further relief at law or in equity to which defendant may be justly entitled, guys. So that is what they asking of Judge Chica, guys. We got J-Rock Sosa, which is Robert Gomez. His name done came up. We got Brianna Ruffin and Lameisha Ruffin. Their names done came out. Armoni Rose, Jose Bodega. It is just crazy, man. It's almost that time, guys. It's almost that time, and a lot is coming out, man. If you ain't hit that like button, make sure you hit that like button, man. And if you made it to this point of the show, I most definitely got a treat for you, because I most definitely went over there to Mr. Logan's page, and had to ask him a couple things about some of this stuff that I done seen, man. He most definitely enlightened me. He let me know from Kewon's point of view, basically in his point of view, what exactly it is that is going on, man. Let's take time to hit that like button. If you ain't hit that like button, let's get a little bit of what Mr. Logan had to say, man. You know what I'm saying? We most definitely exercising the fair act use, and we most definitely finna do some commentate, a little bit of listening exactly to what he said about this whole entire situation when it comes to Armoni Rose, when it comes to the twin girls that supposedly took away the murder weapon, and what he had to say about Jose Bodega being exposed in court, man. This is crazy. Let's go.
Like, nigga, we going to trial, we riding. with the Armoni Rose message and all that stuff like that. That was supposed to be, you know, people keep talking about, nigga, that's not even gonna be in there. They threw that out.
Oh, he said that the Armoni Rose messages that everybody's been talking about, that's not even gonna be in there. They done threw that out. So no Armoni Rose, man. Even though her name done came up in this paperwork I just showed y'all, Mr. Logan said, you know, it got thrown out of there and she ain't even coming to court.
You know what I'm saying? She ain't even coming. That's one thing. So we can clear that up real quick. You know what I'm saying? But it was Royal Rumble in that boy today, boy. They boys had, I'm talking about when they say they was in there scratching, they was in there scratching. You know what I'm saying?
Man, he says it was a Royal Rumble in the courthouse today. You know what I'm saying? Which I forgot to tell y'all. You know, there was most definitely a hearing today. And yeah, they brought up some things. You know what I'm saying? Rainwater was one of the things that they brought up. You know, and yeah, they said when Mr. Rainwater name was said, things got interesting.
And like a lot of stuff got exposed. All the loopholes got exposed. So it's like they like, okay, it's ready to go. They don't care about no continuance. It is what it is.
So that continuance that Kewon was asking for was denied. You know, the judge said, "No, we ready to rock and roll. We not holding anymore. It's time to go to trial."
This is what y'all want to do. This is what they gonna do. You know what I'm saying? I'm gonna tell you like right now. You know what I'm saying? Like, hey, you know what I'm saying? Barnes, you ain't looking too good out there, buddy. You know what I'm saying?
He also makes a reference to Detective Barnes. You know, I guess today some of his fellow officers had some rather unflattering things to say about Barnes today in court. And since we speaking about Barnes, yeah, man, let me let y'all know that the messages between Barnes and Rainwater has been released to the defense, guys. So whatever's off in them, we may see, you know what I'm saying? We may not, it's gonna come out at court, but the defense most definitely has the information between Rainwater and Barnes.
Like, boy, the stigma, and it's not the stigma in the street, it's the stigma within your own department and the people around you that work with you and all that stuff like that. God, man, they ain't got nothing good to say in that courthouse. My God,
that the people who working around Barnes didn't have nothing good to say about him. That's crazy. Yeah, Barnes may got a bad reputation as far as in the precinct. He a beast on the street.
What is going on over there? What is going on over there? Allegedly. You know what I'm saying? But what is going on over there? Evidently, they was some bull.
All right, we see they say she ain't coming. Well, she needs to be charged next to next. She made the plates. Forget them all. Well, he says she not coming because evidently her saying that she made those plates was propaganda. It wasn't true. And she made it up. That's basically what he's saying.
Lady, right. Evidently that I don't know how, you know, and I feel like I feel the same way as you. Don't get now hold on. First of all, before I say what I say, I agree with you. You see what I'm saying?
So he's saying she should be Armoni Rose should be locked up too. You know what I'm saying? Why we trying to figure out how did she and I should have asked, how did she manage to wiggle out, you know, of being a part of this?
But the thing is, where's the evidence?
Lack of evidence may be why she's not showing up, why she's not a part, because she couldn't produce anything that says she made the fake plates for the Camaro outside of her word.
Something that somebody couldn't produce. Key people though, that's all that matters. The key people, right? So
in which we seen they brought up they brought up Rainwater and Bodega.
One of the persons, you know what I'm saying, is, and I told y'all about this. I don't know how long ago I told y'all about this, but how I was telling y'all that all these statements and these witnesses that y'all think that they got and that they have I'm telling you, these are certain people who is trying to get out of certain predicaments. You know what I'm saying? They was arguing today. I'm talking about they were
Bodega, Jerry, Cedric, Long Way, GRC. He's saying, hey, these people was trying to get out of stuff they was already in. That's why they doing what they doing. That's what they've been preaching the whole time. Anyway, let's let them continue.
We're going toe to toe. They were going toe to toe about what's the guy name? It was Cedric. I think it was Cedric uncle, the dude that I told y'all about. I forgot his.
Which is Cedric uncle, which is what was his name? Emanuel Easter, aka Shaq. They had a big discussion about him today in court. The same one that I was telling y'all that did a YouTube interview saying he don't know none of these people, he don't know what they talking about, and he don't know why Kewon White brought his name up in the first place. Let's let him continue.
His name, man. When I think of his name,
it's Emanuel Easter.
But it was a dude who got caught a case, and he ended up getting 15 years for a case. You know what I'm saying? When he was already locked up, and he went in there and telling them that he know the play-by-play and this, and people told him that they'll pay him for this, and that, and this, and all that stuff like that. But the nigga, and they trying to use him. Remind you, they trying to use him. This is the one
they was trying to use Emanuel Easter. This is the same guy that wrote a letter saying that he didn't feel safe where he was housed at. You know why he was in jail. So he has since came out on YouTube and basically said he don't know what these people is talking about. He ain't did none of this. But hey, Logan seems to know that dude is lying, and he was most definitely a part of it.
I think we came up here and I was telling y'all about Kewon was looking in the law library and stumbled across this dude's name. So I ended up doing further research on the guy and ended up finding out, who he was. And then we actually knew who ended up knowing who he was related to. And then he say, "What an Easter egg." Oh man, he said Easter egg. Say, say, nah, it ain't no shit. Nah. But I'm gonna get the name and I'm gonna tell it to y'all. But it's an older fella. You know what I'm saying? It's an older cat, man. And
I just told y'all the name. His name is Emanuel Easter, GRC Shaq.
The nigga ain't even on that type of time or anything like that. You know what I'm saying? Like he like a dolphin robbing ass nigga. You know what I'm saying? From stoves and like that. Anyway.
Oh my goodness, called him a dolphin. So he just trying to get out of trouble. Let's go.
So this nigga put in the statement trying to get out his 15 years. They brought up. Nigga, they was in there fighting toe to toe, like, man, how y'all gonna, you know what I'm saying, use this and use that, you know what I'm saying? Nigga, they brought in
which is kind of
Bodega.
Which is kind of what we just seen in that paperwork. You know, they questioning the legitimacy of the claims that are being made by some of these individuals. Let's let him continue.
Of course, Jose Bodega,
So they brought up Jose Bodega today. Yesterday, in this hearing. See what they said about old Bodega.
You know what I'm saying? Jose Bodega, all his stuff came out today. You know what I'm saying? They were like, okay, bring it on. You know what I'm saying?
All right, all his stuff came out today. Jose Bodega was proven to be a gangster rat. Why do I say that? Because he gave testimony to the grand jury on the Mo 3 case. I ain't mad at it. You know what I'm saying? I hope he was telling the truth. I'm just saying, when you're looking for justice, it don't matter where it come from, just as long as you get it.
Y'all want to go there when we can bring it on, you know what I'm saying? Then they started bringing out, and like old boy was telling y'all, nigga, it is some niggas getting paid. Niggas say it is getting paid.
So he said it is people that was getting paid for information. You know what I'm saying? People were getting paid. Remember, Jerry Lawyer said that it was paid informants, confidential informants, within this whole situation, and it was gonna come out. I don't know exactly who was getting paid, whether Bodega was getting paid or somebody else was getting paid, but Lawton doubled down on there was people receiving monies in exchange for basically their testimonies.
Nigga, to lie. They say don't put nothing past. They just said they told them straight up we ain't put nothing past you state or them alphabet boys. Oh yeah, and them alphabet boys. And listen to what I said. I said the state and them alphabet boys.
So he's saying that basically the defense said they ain't putting nothing past the state or the feds. You know what I'm saying? We don't know what y'all did. We just know we got information that people were being paid in exchange for their testimonies.
And the Barnes.
And Detective Barnes. Barnes, man, I hope Barnes ain't paid nobody.
They throwing low blows. They playing dirty. Man, they get niggas that was already locked up on cases, nigga taking those, and like, this is what we gonna do. What we coming with? What are we doing here? Mm-hmm. So they was in the court talking about Armoni Rose.
So they was in court, you know, he bring up Armoni Rose again. Now I went over there and I asked Kewon a while back about Armoni Rose. You know what I'm saying? And she was gonna be a part. He let me know that he wasn't worried about her. Said allegedly she on pills and things of that nature, and that she was not credible. So he was not worried about her. But they brought her up today anyway in court.
They brought her up. She came up today. They talked about her. They talked about what was said and this and that and the statement and everything that was made. And they was like,
so she actually made a statement. So they questioned her money. You know what I'm saying? They questioned her about some of the things that she done said. I guess he's saying her statements came up in court today. You know, maybe the text messages and things of that nature came up today, but they had a full discussion about Armoni Rose.
Evidence, there's nothing that ties to that. It's nothing stronghold. So, you know, they're not using it. I don't know why. You know?
All right. They said that it wasn't enough information when it comes to Armoni Rose to use any of her stuff. So he's basically saying that Armoni Rose won't be part of this, but he most definitely confirms that she made a statement. You know what I'm saying? And she might have turned over some stuff, but she didn't have enough evidence, you know, basically for them to use her within this situation.
I just don't know why, you know, but it is what it is. And we here today, but let's keep going. The biggest fight. So they fought over a lot of stuff, but the biggest.
So he lets us know that they fought over a lot of stuff. But the biggest fight and the biggest quarrel between them all was none other than.
The biggest fight today was over Rainwater. Man.
The biggest fight was over none other than dang Rainwater. Lord have mercy.
What the fuck? What the fuck is going on?
Old Rainwater had a perplexed today in that courtroom. Let's go.
Say, I'm talking about, hey, it wasn't looking good for Rainwater. The picture, the picture that they was painting, I'm talking about on both sides, not the defense, nigga, the state and the defense, nigga, the way they was painting Rain.
Rainwater just get the losing end of the stick every time, man. Not only do YouTube believe that Rainwater be full of it sometime, but it seemed like the prosecution and the defense agree with a lot of people's opinion of Rainwater, that he is full of crap. But let's continue.
God, oh Lord. He say, man, hey, they was in there say, hey, they was turned, man, they was paint, boy, say.
I can only imagine whatever kind of picture they was painting the Rainwater. This Rainwater, boy, I'm telling you, man. Oh my God.
Everything that boy been saying, boy, I say. Everything he been saying, everything say. Ooh.
So they've been keeping tabs on Rainwater and everything that he been saying. Maybe the defense. They've been keeping tabs on old Rain. Rain, how you feel about that, man? They've been keeping tabs on you and everything you gotta say. You know what I'm saying? They most definitely painted you out to be not credible. That's what I'm taking from this.
Ooh, man, I tell you this. Oh, they say he's so eager, so they gonna make a room for the eager. They gonna make room for the eager, for you to sit down and for you to say all that you want to say. You know, because what they're painting is diabolical.
That ain't looking good for Rainwater. Rainwater, boy, you better watch yourself.
But the thing that really caught my attention, though, that y'all been asking all this time. And y'all know what y'all been asking all this time? Y'all been asking, who is
Money Maya?
I don't want to let my hair come over here and just, do all that.
Yeah, Mahel gonna come with them questions every time. You know what I'm saying? I most definitely went up there. I had a couple questions. I asked a couple of them, but they know. You know what I'm saying? I'm most definitely gonna keep my foot on their neck. If ain't nobody else gonna do it.
This Money Maya has a part to play. Because
he said this Money Maya has a part to play. Keela, what did you do?
A birdie. I'm not gonna call him a birdie. We're not gonna call people birdies. We're gonna say a person said a while back on who the Money Maya was.
He was talking about what Trap said on Say Cheese when he spoke about Money Maya. And basically Trap said it was for Money Maya. And Rainwater know who Money Maya is.
But do you remember when a person said that Rain know who Money Maya is?
Which was Trap.
And y'all know who Money Maya is.
No, we don't. No, we don't all know who Money Maya is. Trap said it was 4 of them. You telling us that Keela was one, and then I heard somebody say that Rainwater could have been considered a Money Maya because he was running around, telling telling 3 what the other side was saying. You know what I'm saying? But let's continue.
Oh yeah, y'all know who Money Maya is. Oh yeah, she came up too. And I didn't know. I guess I know now she was cool. She was cool with. Oh man, Mahel, Mahel, you be on everything, don't you, Mahel?
Well, you see, I told him Freddie said that. Well, I remember the interview. I watched it.
Mahel you was bad. She been on some people's couches. I tell you that much.
He can be saying she done been on some people's couches other than Mo 3s. So she could have ties to the other side, which would make her a Money Maya. Keela, what's going on?
Joke, man. Say, nope, Mahel, you went through all them. Shit, yeah, Mahel, what an update at, man?
I'm giving it right now. I'm giving the update right now. You know what I'm saying? You are part of the update, my guy. You know what I'm saying? So Logan basically walked us down through there, told us a couple of things, that we may have not been privy to that took place at the hearing today. He most definitely said Rainwater name came up, Emanuel Easter name came up, Armoni Rose came up, Money Maya came up, who he referenced as Keela, guys. So yeah, man, it's a lot going on within this situation. Make sure if you ain't doing nothing else, you hitting that like button. Make sure you subscribing to the channel if you are new, and most definitely leave me some comments down there letting me know what y'all think about this entire situation when it comes to Jose Bodega being exposed for being basically an informant to the laws, giving testimony to the grand jury. How y'all feel about Armoni Rose, her part that she played in this not being noticed, and her basically not even having to show up to the trial as of what Logan said? Her stuff would not be used, even though she said she would know Kewon, just by looking at his shadow. She know him from anybody in the world, because she had been the female that was making them calls, telling Kewon's whereabouts. And if it wasn't her, who was it, man? Yeah, man, as this thing gets closer, as this trial gets closer, things are most definitely opening up, and we are being exposed to more information than ever, man. And with that, I'm going to go ahead and end this sidewalk gang. Checking out. Make sure you hype the video.